Just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations up first. Tips for tax season with Dr. Preston Cherry, founder of Concurrent Wealth and author of Wealth in the Key of Life, Finding Financial Harmony. On the B side of our two, actor Donald Weber Jr. joins us to discuss his current Broadway role in the seminal drama Glengarry Glen Ross, as well as his role on Severance, the most watched show ever on Apple TV+. In our third hour, noted writer, essayist, and social commentator Roxane Gay is here to discuss her latest text, The Portable Feminist Reader. We'll also get her thoughts on her comic book series, Black Panther, World of Wakanda, and her new ownership of the literary magazine, The Rumpus. The great writer, Roxane Gay, joins us today in our third hour. But in this first hour, let's talk politics with the legendary Democratic political strategist, Joe Trippi. Joe, good to have you back. How are you, sir?
Tav, it's great to be with you.
It's good to hear your voice, man. Thank you for your time. Glad we had a whole hour because there's a lot to cover politically these days. Let me start with the obvious story of the day. We were on the air yesterday when this story broke. It's interesting what a difference an hour makes. I literally started this 3-hour program yesterday talking about Trump and his bluster, his bravado with these terrorists, the world community smacking him back. I made the point earlier in the show that the only way you deal with a bully is to call his bluff. And 90 minutes later, the whole world community had called Donald Trump's bluff. China, the EU, everybody pushed back on these tariffs against them by raising their tariffs against us. And before you know it, Donald Trump backs down and suggests that we're going to have a 90-day pause, that's his word, on these tariffs, just to update everybody on the story that I think everybody's probably following anyway. So we start there. Here's my first question. In terms of messaging, in terms of the way this administration is showing up, we see a pattern here now with Donald Trump. He jumps out again with all this bravado and all this bluster, and he rolls out these levies. Sometimes they're levies, sometimes they're tariffs. There are other things we could point to, as you well know, but he jumps out really quickly and does X, Y, or Z. And then step two, the markets panic. And once the markets panic, step three, Trump backs down. But he's done that repeatedly now. It is a pattern. Again, we could unpack it with a bunch of examples if I had the time, but I don't need to for this bright audience. What do you make of that pattern? He jumps out, the markets panic, and he pulls back. You can't keep doing the market you can't be yo-yoing the market like that repeatedly.
No, I think you're right. I think the markets figured it out, Tavis. I mean, and so even this cave yesterday isn't solving the problem, right? Because they know it's coming again. In other words, what's happened here is the one thing they can be certain about is chaos constantly, uncertainty everywhere, and there is no positive happening economically because of this. This is the Trump. This is the Trump slump. It's the Republican tariffs. It literally needs to be branded repeatedly because he is going to try to luff out of it again. But it's not working. And so I think like today, most of the markets are giving it all back, giving yesterday all back. They realize we're just 90 days away from the next crash, or the next Trump, boisterous, and he'll give it back too. But this was definitely a cave, and it was foreseeable, I think. I mean, look at the pain. Damage has been done. Inflation is going to go up, even if he lifted all the tariffs today. The confusion and chaos he's created is going to cost a lot of people. It's already cost a lot of people a lot of money, and it's going to make it harder at the grocery store and everywhere else on all of us. And for nothing, for a 1 week drama show that ended up with him caving. And again, he's still, what he's got right now is it's not a tariff, 125% tariff on China. It's a blockade. Yeah. There's no way anything's going to come in, and that definitely means higher prices for everybody. No. It's really a mess.
Yep. To your point about the next upheaval in 90 days, that is a generous and charitable read. It might not take 90 days for him to say or do something that ruffles the markets the way he did yesterday. Number one. Number two, as we come forward with Joe Trippi, we will talk about the politics of the cave. That's the word everybody's using. It's a great word. He caved yesterday. What about the politics of the cave? That's why you have a legendary strategist like Joe Trippi to sort of unpack that. How are the Democrats going to make something good come out of this? How do they use this to their advantage? I suggested something yesterday that I will suggest again when we come forward about how the Democrats ought to be using it. It's my idea, but I'm no Joe Trippi, so we'll see what Joe has to say about that. But let me just play a clip right quick before we move forward. This is Adam Schiff, now senator from California, was of course the guy in the House who led the impeachment hearings successfully, the first impeachment of Donald Trump. He was the guy that led those hearings. Now there are concerns, given what happened yesterday, about potential insider trading. Listen now to Adam Schiff.
Someone is knowing about these events in advance, and they may have an hour to know, or they may have a day, but someone knows, and the question is, are they trading on that information? Are they profiting? While people's retirement savings are on fire, are people in the administration making money out of it? And, the strategy simply can't put it past.
This administration. So the clip isn't the best because Adam Schiff was in the hallway, as senators tend to be, taking questions from reporters. What he was saying was that somebody knows something. They may have an hour to know, they may have days to know, but somebody knew the president was going to do this yo-yo thing. And who took advantage of that? Who knew? I'm thinking now of the great congresswoman out of Texas, Barbara Jordan, during the Watergate hearings, who asked that famous question: what did the president know, and when did he know it? And that's the question that Adam Schiff is raising: who knew what, and who knew what when? Was there some potential insider trading? We'll talk about that and a great deal more when we come forward on Tavis Smiley with Joe Trippi.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall. Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Joe Trippi as we try to unpack the drama of yesterday. So I played a clip a moment ago of Adam Schiff, and again, it wasn't the best audio. He was out in the Senate hallway being asked by reporters his thoughts about the events of yesterday. And what he suggested was that there needs to be an investigation. We need to look at what happened yesterday and whether or not there were folk inside the White House and folk connected to the White House who knew what was going down yesterday. Donald Trump literally was on his Truth Social yesterday saying that now is a good time to buy. Now's a good time to do X, Y, or Z. You can see it for yourself. Just Google it and read what he said yesterday in detail. But this is the president on Truth Social talking about the markets, which raises a fundamental question about whether the president is, in fact, manipulating the markets with his comments, or, as his critics say, as his supporters, I should say, have opined, reassuring Americans That's what his supporters say. No. He's not manipulating the markets. He's just reassuring Americans that everything is okay. Well, you got to know that before the president made his comment yesterday about this 90-day pause, there were a whole lot of folk on his team inside the White House, folk they're connected to, that knew the president was about to make that comment. Enter again Adam Schiff, asking questions about who knew what when, and whether or not we see the president really manipulating the markets, and more to the point, whether or not there's some potential insider trading going on here. I yield now to Joe Trippi.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. We know that he uses this stuff to signal to people when to buy and sell. He does that all the time. It was like, when Elon Musk was telling people to buy Dogecoin, cryptocurrency, and then Donald Trump announces that he's naming Elon Musk head of the Department of Government Efficiency, which just happens to be, as we all know, Doge. That was a signal to the cryptocurrency enthusiasts out there to buy Dogecoin back then. It's the same thing now with buy, now's a good time to buy, and then moments later, or an hour later or so, he announces a 90-day pause on tariffs. There was a signal there, and I don't think I think it's smart for Adam Schiff and others to ask that question. Okay, was it just encouraging the American people on in the face of a downturn, or was it a signal to his insiders to buy? And I think that investigation needs to happen. But the fundamental thing is, right now, I think it is a time to get loud and to resist and refuse, because he is in a very weak place. You look at the data on his job approval. I mean, the consumer sentiment was at an all-time, literally multi-year low. Go before the tariff announcement. His favorable rating among independents had fallen to 37%, only 37%, and on the economy, independents had turned against him, only 31% of supporting him, and 61% of disapproving of his handling of the economy. All of these numbers are before the tariffs, before this self-induced trauma that he's put on the American people, and the pain that he's caused and the losses he's caused. I think now is the time for Democrats, pro-democracy folks, and in the community itself, to get loud and to make sure that this is the Trump slump, that this is the Republican, these are Republican tariff that are at fault for this. Not just make the Republicans own this thing. Are you for what he's doing to our economy or against it? And they won't speak out against him because, of course, they're afraid of him. So, make them wear this. That's what I think is important right now.
So I suggested yesterday how I think Democrats ought to be moving in this moment. I am no legendary political strategist as Joe Trippi is, but I've been at this for a long time, a few decades now, and I know something about campaigning and about politicking and about winning. Let me play one more again. This clip I played yesterday. This is Donald Trump night before yesterday at the Republican Congressional Dinner, bragging about his tariff program. Just literally 24 hours later, he is pausing this 90-day tariff. I want to play it again and tell you what I said yesterday and see what Joe Trippi thinks about that. Give it to me, Miles.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating. Sell America fast, because you're going to go busted.
We talked yesterday about the way he just denigrated, disrespected, embarrassed, and humiliated, downgraded Republicans to their face, saying how horrible they are at negotiating. It really just smacks them. And what do you hear from them? They're applauding his commentary. They are laughing. And so that's another conversation, again, for another time. We had some of that yesterday, just the way that they, just bow down to this guy and laugh and are cajoled and applauding when he's insulting them to their face. I'll leave that alone for now. The point I'm pressing toward is Donald Trump saying these world leaders are calling kissing my A. That's on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, yesterday, he caves. He caves yesterday on just basically 24 hours later. Now, here's my point, Joe. I said yesterday that if I'm Ken Martin, run the Democratic Party, if I'm Chuck Schumer, if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, here's what I'm doing. I'm cutting a commercial right now. I'm not waiting to midterms. I'm cutting a commercial right now, and the commercial uses the clip you just heard of Donald Trump saying these world leaders are kissing my A. And then you cut to clips of all of the world, China and the EU, all these headlines that they are putting tariffs on us. They're pushing back on Donald Trump. And then you cut to Donald Trump saying, okay, we're pausing this for 90 days. And then you cut to the markets rejoicing when Donald Trump realizes he's made a mistake and has to back down. And you can color it with all the stuff you need to color it with, but obviously you're a campaign a veteran. You know how this works. That's the kind of commercial that Democrats ought to be running right now, showing the way, to your earlier point, he is not stewarding the economy the way people thought he was. I remind you, as I said yesterday, that Donald Trump was elected, the data tell us, because people thought that he was going to be the better person on the economy. Kamala Harris must be in Brentwood, about 10 miles from this studio right now, where I sit in L.A., pulling her hair out, because this is the guy that people thought would be better on the economy. But Democrats ought to be cutting commercials and running those commercials right now in the states and in the districts that they need to win to take back the House and the Senate. Not waiting to midterms, Joe. I think those spots start running right now, and that's the narrative you start to build on. But that's just me. I'm no Joe Trippi. What say you?
No, you're right. That's what I was saying. This is time to get loud. It's time. Definition is now. We already blew this in 2020 when he was at his weakest point right after January 6th, right after the Biden was inaugurated. That was the time to start the hearings, to indict him, to literally take it to him politically. And make him, disqualify him with the American people. Right now, he's at that point. He's at that point again. Those numbers that I was citing about his favorables falling with just about everybody, even among Republicans, and it's all tied to this. And now's the time to define him, and that's a great idea for an ad. And I'm a senior advisor to the Lincoln Project. It's not the Democratic Party. But I'm gonna bring that idea to them and see if we can get something like that made and get it up. Because you're right, we need to do. It's the time to define him and the Republicans for their enabling and empowering this mess is now. Yep. We cannot showing up at doors every 2 years in October and try to define it then.
It's too late.
It leads to what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, that clip, that's why I played it yesterday, I played it today. That clip is gold. It is Democratic gold. It is, to your word, it is resist, it is refuse gold. He's bragging about them kissing his behind, and 24 hours later, he caves. I don't know why the Democrats are moving so slow to take advantage of that. I mean, let me ask the question a different way. In the last 24 hours, have you seen Democrats do anything that you think is taking advantage of this cave? I mean, again, we played Adam Schiff's comments that there ought to be an investigation. That's nice. That's going to take some time. But in real time, I don't see Democrats taking advantage of the cave.
No. And I think, look, we are in the information environment we're in. It's an attention environment. You have to get people's attention. And that's what Trump does with these, the kiss my ass stuff. And the problem is that the Democratic Party is not good at that. Now, I'll tell you, Cory Booker, when he did the filibuster, that was the first time you saw somebody get that you got to get people's attention, and he did. And so that's what this ad campaign you're talking about. Would the ad itself and the fact that Democrats are doing it this early would get attention? It would start to drive the definition. And that's, we have to see more of that.
Yeah, and specifically, again, it's not just a commercial. As you know, being a campaign veteran, you don't just put a commercial out and run it everywhere all the time. I'm talking about a campaign that is a campaign commercial that is targeted. As I said earlier, you run this in those districts that you need to win to take back the House, that you need to take back the Senate. So you target this ad specifically in those places because you need to start messaging right now. To your point, your brilliant point, you need to start defining Donald Trump right now in those places where you need to win. And I'm going to combine my idea with your idea, Joe Trippi. And I would call the commercial the Trump slump. I like that phrase. It is the coming Trump slump, because here's the one thing that's going to get Donald Trump in trouble. The one thing that's going to get him in trouble is if the economy starts or continues to tank worse than it is right now. And yesterday is a great example. I think that he is not the guy to be, again, stewarding the economy right now. But what do you think people who voted for Donald Trump because they thought he was the best on the economy are making of the cave yesterday, this huge mistake he made on tariffs? I mean, if you voted for him because you thought he was great on the economy, what are you thinking today, Joe?
No, that's what's happening. He's starting to weaken with his own folks. You and I both know there'll be the vast majority of them will let him, would let him shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and figure he has a good excuse.
Right.
But a big group is moving away, or at least starting to have severe doubts. And that's why you're right. Get this up right now in those districts and in those markets. But at the same time, then on the ground, calling those Republican representatives in those districts and saying, like, you with him on this or not? Are you with these tariffs or not? Are you with the pain that he's creating? Are you for him shutting down these veterans benefits and everything? I mean, literally start to define them now and put the heat on those guys so they either stand with him or they break away. And I think they'll stand with him, but that sets them up too. It defines them in a way that loses them their seats in November of 2026.
Yep. Joe Trippi and I agree. This is a moment. This is a gift. Donald Trump has given Democrats a gift. And I will keep saying it. Until I see the Democratic Party moving in a way that accepts the gift, that receives the gifts, and takes advantage of it. But this is a moment for Democrats to start defining Donald Trump, not waiting to the midterms. And I am chagrined by the fact that I don't see them moving swiftly enough. That's what real good campaigns do. It doesn't take you 2 or 3 days to get your act together. The minute you have an opportunity to define somebody, to redefine somebody, you move swiftly in that moment. That's how you win elections. That's how you win campaigns. And I'm disappointed that the Democrats, 48 hours later, ain't figured this out yet. I digress for now. More with Joe Trippi when we come forward.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. South Memphis, Tennessee residents face growing environmental threats from Elon Musk's expanding XAI data center, with unpermitted gas turbines increasing pollution. Advocates demand accountability, noting the disproportionate impact on black neighborhoods. Stocks closed sharply higher after President Trump's 90-day tariff pause announcement, causing the Dow's biggest rally in 5 years and the S&P 500's largest gain since 2008. The United States Postal Service is preparing to raise the price of stamps. USPS announced yesterday they will raise stamp prices from 73 to 78 cents and domestic postcards from 56 to 62 cents to achieve financial stability while maintaining affordability. And Harlem's cultural legacy was celebrated yesterday during a special event at the Apollo ahead of the 2025 Met Gala, highlighting its influence on Black fashion, art, and music. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California. Then right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
In so many ways Wednesday night, Luka Doncic told the Dallas Mavericks organization they never should have traded him. In his first game in Dallas since the Lakers traded for him on February 2nd, Doncic had a spectacular return. 45 points, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Doncic got standing ovations from Mavericks fans before and after the game. The Lakers pulled away for a 112-97 win. The win secured a top 6 finish for the Lakers in the Western Conference, which means they will avoid the play-in round. The Lakers have 2 games remaining in the regular season, Friday at home against Houston and Sunday at Portland. The Clippers won their 6th straight. They beat Houston 134-117 in their final regular season home game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Ivica Zubac had his first career triple-double with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. James Harden dropped 35. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one. Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Joe Trippi, we are talking all politics as we do in the first hour of this program. And what a day it was yesterday when Donald Trump caved on these tariffs. And I want to talk now just about the ways that Democrats can take advantage of this. I suggested an idea moments ago. Joe and I sort of collaborated on this. We're going to call it the Trump slump. Somebody is going to tell the DNC they need to be running commercials right about now in key congressional districts and in states where they need to win to take back the Senate and take back the House. But broadly speaking, tell me more, Joe, about the way in this particular moment Democrats need to step up. I take your point. I think it's a brilliant point that this is a moment where you can redefine Donald Trump. And I think it's a blessing for Democrats that it's happening this early in. We knew at some point he was going to go too far. I've been saying this since January. It's just a matter of time before he goes too far. And we could define go too far a variety of ways. There are a number of things he's done. All these executive orders and courts have put in stays and backed him up and backed him down, et cetera, et cetera. There are other victories he has won. But this is really a defining moment. In every presidency, as you well know better than most, Joe Trippi, there are these defining moments. This is a defining moment for Donald Trump, but it's a moment for redefining for Democrats. I just want to talk just a little bit more here about the way you think Democrats need to be showing up in this moment, then we'll move from there.
No, they got to learn the lessons that they should have learned in 2020. That moment after, you got to be a voice for its opposition party. You can't. This isn't about another election 2 years from now. The moment is now. And people have we have a lot of power in this too. I mean, again, calling those representatives, demanding that they stand up to him, particularly forcing some of these Republicans to take the position. Got to urge the press to do that as well. But look, the one thing, I don't think we're out of the woods on this at all. I'm talking about economically. I'm talking about listeners out there. This is a time, I think, for all of us to look at, I know people are stretched and just spending, only on essentials as it is, but this is a time where I think really taking your spending down to what you really need and saving more, and urging this party at the same time with your voice to rise up, because we're not in the Democratic Party tends to think of everything as an election 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. This fight they don't do that on the other side is 24/7, 7 days a week, every nanosecond on the attack.
That's right.
And so we got to respond. You're exactly right. I think part of that is we've never had a history in the country really where there's always, like in a lot of other countries, there's an opposition to the dictator, to the strong man, to the bully immediately once they come to power. We've never had that situation here before, and the Democratic Party needs to rise up to that moment and understand, no, this isn't politics as usual. This is a defining moment for the nation. For our future, and they've got to stand up and understand that's the fight we're in. You don't want to be in the fight you wish you're in. You got to recognize the fight we're in. And this is a really, really important fight right now. We got to define him now.
There's another brilliant political strategist who Joe has known for years. I've known him for years, James Carville, the Raging Cajun. You'll recall, Joe, that I guess a month or two ago, Carville was everywhere. And a lot of people took him to task for his comment that Democrats should just play possum for a little bit. Just lay low, play possum for a bit, and just let Donald Trump implode and do himself in. I didn't agree with James Carville when he said it, and I still don't necessarily agree with James Carville, although I love James Carville. So the play possum thing doesn't necessarily work for me. I'm more with you, that we got to be moving every minute, taking advantage of every opportunity. So Carville and I disagree in that regard. What I do think James is right about is that this guy is prone to shooting himself not just in the foot, but in the head. And this tariff, pause, again, his word, is another example of that. And so the question is whether or not we think that we're going to get more of these gifts. I mean, how many more times is Donald Trump going to shoot himself in the head, giving Democrats more and more opportunities to continue defining him in advance of the elections? I don't necessarily see it as playing possum, but I think Carville's onto something, that this guy, left to his own devices, is going to keep giving Democrats gifts. The question is, do they know how to make the best use of them?
Yeah, that's why both of those things they don't make sense when you combine them. I love James too, but look, every time he gives us one of these gifts, we need, and I think James is right, they're coming. There's more of them coming. We need to use every single one of them to turn this all back on him and the Republican Party. And that's the lesson that we didn't learn in 2020. That's what I'm saying. We did, it was like, okay, we won, it's over. We don't have to worry about everything's going to go back to normal. No, he is going to relentlessly do this crazy stuff. And we need at every turn to look at that as a gift that needs to be exploited. If James was right that he's going to implode on his own, we should just play possum. Okay, by fighting it and amplifying it and helping it along, that seemed to make more sense to me than just playing possum, letting it happen. But what James is wrong, that you can't play possum. Then fighting now and defining him now is our best shot. So, in other words, under any circumstances, we should be fighting. The party should be fighting. We need more senators out there throwing sand in the gears and bringing attention to what's going on. We need to be out in front of veterans centers and in Social Security offices that are being shut down. I think that's almost more important to me than being in front of a Tesla dealership. We need to be calling attention to what they're doing. And at every turn, and yes, there will be 90 days from now. I'm sure there'll be another gift. And you're right, that'd be too generous. Yeah. It'll happen between now and then.
Yep. I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming in from listeners right now, and this one jumps out at me because I want to take your temperature on this. You're the right guy to ask this question of. Tavis, Trump controls the news cycle daily without opposition. He's continuing to control the news cycle daily without opposition. How, in a moment like this, is Donald Trump still controlling the news cycle? Again, I was about to say I'm not trying to beat up on Democrats. Actually, I am. I'm beating up on Democrats today, punching them in their face, trying to get their attention that this is your moment to redefine Donald Trump. What advice do you have right now in this moment as Trump gives us these gifts for Democrats taking control of the news cycle, Joe Trippi?
No, we need to. It's about you can't get control of the news cycle unless you do something that gets attention. Right. So what I mean by that is putting out a bill right now that takes away the president's power to initiate tariffs. Okay, maybe the whole world says, "Oh, that's unconstitutional." Whatever. The Republicans say they won't put the bill up for it, but at least there's a fight. At least you're getting attention. The media has to cover that. What you're doing. We don't do things like they do it. Donald Trump, he's the president. He can go on Truth Social and post something, and every reporter has to be on Truth Social because they don't want to get beat or scooped by the other reporters, right? So everybody's on it. And he knows he can post something. He can post the signal to buy now, and people will get that. The media will get that message out for him. Mm-hmm. We don't have that similar thing. I started a new pro-democracy social network. Says SEZ US. It's now it says us. It's now in Apple and Google stores to try to build our own pro-democracy information distribution system. Your show. We got to get out there. We got to get on these things. I mean, to get the message out there, and our Democratic office holders have to be where people are. I mean, to be out there and raise the alarm and get attention while they're doing it. Your ad idea is a great idea because it will get attention, and it will get attention in the markets in those battleground districts. They're going to count and define them early. We got to keep doing that. Again, show up. We can show up at that member's office, standing in front of it, demanding on him to stop Trump on these tariffs while that ad is up with him. That your ad is up, and are you for the Trump slump, or are you going to fight him on it? It's a combined thing we got to do.
Yep. Joe just mentions it now. When we come forward, I want to give him an opportunity to talk about this new app that he is behind to combat rage baiting. We'll let Joe do that when we come forward here on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Think about your mentors and idols, the people who inspire you the most. While it may look like they have all the answers, they don't. But they do know when to ask questions and seek the support they need. In a world that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better with a support system. Therapy is a great way to find a consistent source of support in your life, so you can break free from the outdated belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. BetterHelp has experienced therapists ready to help you with challenges ranging from anxiety and depression to relationships and stress. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. You can even send your therapist a message anytime something comes up. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABCRadio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABCRadio.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed with the legendary political strategist Joe Trippi. I want to talk about his new app to combat rage baiting. I'll start first by asking Joe Trippi to define what he means by rage bait. Before I do that, when I brought this radio station online here in L.A., of course, this program is syndicated. Joe, we heard it in markets all across the country right now, and for that I am always grateful. But I reached out to my friend Lyle Gregory. I call him my cousin brother. I reached out to Lyle Gregory, and I asked Lyle, I'm about to bring a radio station online, a progressive station in L.A. How should we do this? And we got together and worked to get this thing off the ground. But Lyle is great at these lines and framing. And he says, Tavis, you need to frame this, what you're doing with this station, as engage radio, not outrage radio. Engage radio, not outrage radio. The world is full of too much outrage radio. And it's not just radio, but there's too much rage on social media. Everybody knows that. So I say that as a way to ask, what is rage bait? And then tell me about the app to combat it.
Well, it sounds like we were trying to do similar things. So we want to engage, not enrage. And most of the apps out there, like X and Facebook and some of the other, they all have the same algorithm that pumps up rage. In other words, they want people fighting with each other because it increases the engagement and the number of eyeballs, and then they can sell that to advertisers. And furthermore, they don't really care about bots because, they have a couple 100,000 or a couple million bots on their network. Those are just, quote, fake eyeballs to sell to the advertisers. And the bots are creating the rage. They're literally getting people to fight. A lot of people are just fighting with bots on these networks. So what we're creating is a civil place for human beings where, and it's pro-democracy. It's a pro-democracy network. I never get why the New York Times can't say it's a pro-democracy newspaper, but we're a pro-democracy network, and we're trying to encourage people who care about the future of the country, who want to be civil, but stand against this and have the tools to fight it, to join the network. We're in the Google and the Apple app stores now. SEZ says us US is the where to go if people would like to check it out. But there's also so much. It's like your show. It's Lincoln Square, which is a new platform. You find it on Substack and other places where you can real insightful and warnings, where people can find out what's going on, like they do on your show. We got to do more of that. Build up our own pro-democracy community ecosystem, or whatever you want to call it. Where we're distributing the information that people need and can use, because the networks aren't standing up to it, and the social networks are more engaged in rage than they are engaging civil discussion and furthering, a movement that we have to have a counter movement. I think we have to see ourselves as a counter movement, the pro-democracy movement. Somebody told me the other day, that the default position for human governance has always been, for 10,000 years, the biggest guy and the strongest guy in the cave, the king, the dictator, the strong man for 10,000 years. Democracy, us having this power of we the people, that's the outlier. That's the thing that's only existed for a couple of 100 years now.
That's it. That's a powerful point. That's a powerful point. It has always been the strong man. But you're right. This other notion has only existed, frankly, a very limited number of years. Again, you heard Joe say earlier, if you want to read more about it or learn more about it or get online, it says us, SEZUS. SEZ says us. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Joe Trippi, I want to talk about pro-democracy and what that really means in this moment, and civility. He raised that word as well. Those are our two words coming forward, pro-democracy and civility. We're talking with Joe Trippi on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Do you enjoy fatty foods, sweets, and alcohol? Who doesn't? Unfortunately, all those things put a lot of pressure on our liver. That's why pharmacist, best-selling author, and nutritional expert Sherry Torkos recommends Active Liver from New Nordic.
The liver is an incredible organ. It works non-stop to process toxins and chemicals from our food and drinks, medications we take, and even environmental exposures. As a health expert, I'm often asked how to support the liver's natural detoxification process and offset the effects of fatty foods, sugar, and alcohol. I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. This gentle plant-based supplement is an effective way to support your liver's vital functions as well as your energy and overall well-being.
With its powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, Active Liver is the perfect way to keep your liver healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
You are listening to Trippy and Tavis, and sometimes Tavis can get a little trippy. That's Joe Trippy. We have just 3 minutes left in this conversation. I always enjoy talking to Joe Trippy. Legendary. I'd even try to run all the campaigns he has worked on and won over the years. I just call him a legendary political strategist. Do it shorthand. So you mentioned 2 words earlier, pro-democracy and civility. And to your point, you're right. The New York Times won't call itself pro-democracy. That's troubling in a variety of ways. I ain't got time to get into that. But it's that second word, civility, that really jumped out at me as well. There are any number of threats to this democracy. I call this an experiment in democracy, as this audience knows. We have a Madisonian framework for democracy. I don't think we've quite achieved that yet. So I call this an experiment in democracy, but that's just me. The point is that our democracy is fragile right about now. And there are any number of threats to this democracy. One of them is Donald Trump, obviously. Another would be poverty. Poverty is a threat to this democracy. I can do this all day long. But on my list of gerrymandering is a threat to our democracy. But one of the threats that you just mentioned is civility. I believe sincerely that this incivility that we see increasing every day, this rage that you referenced earlier, I believe is a real threat to our democracy. If you agree, tell me more in 90 seconds.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think, look, part of it is when you say we're on pro-democracy, it can't mean the status quo. Democracy isn't working. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be reformed. It needs to be made to work to get people out of poverty. So all that's true. So one of the things is you can't get in defending it become part of the status quo because it needs to be improved. But on civility, look, this moment that we're talking about, where a bunch of Trump people are starting to think maybe I made a mistake. This isn't the moment to say, you stupid idiots, we told you so. We told you this would happen. I mean, to be uncivil to them. Now, this is why the civility matters so much. We've got to be able to communicate with them in a way that says, look, how do we work together to stop this from continuing to happen? Not you made a mistake, but look, we're Americans. We've got to solve these problems together. This isn't working. I hope you'll join us. Is a better tactic, and that's what I think we need to do.
This is a moment, Joe Trippi and I agree, that we can redefine Donald Trump. This is a huge miscalculation this week, a major cave, and Democrats ought to be moving swiftly. Quicker than right now and sooner than at once. I said it, quicker than right now and sooner than at once. They ought to be moving to take advantage of this moment. I digress on that for now. The new app that Joe is behind to combat rage baiting is called Says US. That's Says, SEZUS, Says Us. Check it out for yourself. Joe, good to have you back on, my friend. Have a great rest of your day, my friend.
You too, and have me back. I love talking with you.
We'll do it again, I promise. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. South Memphis, Tennessee residents face growing environmental threats from Elon Musk's expanding XAI data center, with unpermitted gas turbines increasing pollution. Advocates demand accountability, noting the disproportionate impact